Hi there guys, my name is Tim, welcome to the channel, and today we are going to be looking at some Memento cards. So we're going to be looking back in time, a little bit of nostalgia for those old cards that got retrained into a new archetype this year called Memento that got some amazing support in the Infinite Forbidden, which I'm really looking forward to being able to show you this deck profile. I bought this deck just because I thought the cards looked cool, and they do. They look really cool. But I didn't realise just how strong the deck was going to be. And then it got the support in Infinite Forbidden, and it is just absolutely awesome how many interruptions that this deck can put out. So I'm looking forward to being able to show you all of that. So if you are excited for the Memento content on the channel, then please do subscribe down below. It would be very appreciated if you did. We're trying to hit 250 subscribers by the end of the year, and I think that we're well on the way to doing so, but I can't do it without your help. So thank you very much. Now with that, let's get into the profile and see what we got cooking. Just look at the top two cards of these piles here, guys. Don't they look so cool? It's so good that this deck is also doesn't just look cool, but it is actually a strong deck as well. So I'm really looking forward to playing this. I'm going to be taking this deck to locals, actually taking it there tonight, so we can see how we get on with it. So we are playing, at the start of this, we're playing two copies of Memento, Takutlika, Combined Creation. I am going to butcher the names of these cards, guys. I am sorry. So, Combined Creation here. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand or graveyard by shuffling 5 other Memento monsters with different names from your hand and or graveyard into the deck/extra deck. While you control no other monsters, this card can attack all monsters that your opponent controls once each, and once per turn. If your opponent activates a card or effect, except during the damage step, you can special summon one Memento monster from your hand or graveyard. I like running 2 copies of this because of a card that we're playing later on. You could just run 1 copy, admittedly, and be able to pop in another hand trap into the deck. But I really like this, and it comes out at 5,000 attack power and 5,000 defense. So it is a really strong boss monster for the deck. But how are we going to get that? It's quite a high cost to be able to summon it. Well, first of all, our 1-card combos in Memento Anguish. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Memento monster from your deck to your hand, except for Anguish. You can target 1 level 2 or lower Memento monster in your graveyard, destroy a Memento monster that you control, and if you do special summon the targeted monster, you can only use each effect of Anguish once per turn. 1-card combo. Anguish is a 1-card combo, as well as Memento Dark Blade, which we are playing 3 copies of. Another 1-card combo because it just allows us to instantly special summon an Anguish to the field to do that 1-card combo with. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can discard 1 Memento card, then target 1 spell or trap that your opponent controls and destroy it. During your main phase, you can destroy 1 Memento monster that you control, and if you do, special summon 1 Memento monster. 1 level 3 or lower Memento monster from your deck. You can only use each effect of Dark Blade once per turn. Next up, we have got 3 copies of Memento Tatsunute Shigo. I'm going to be calling this Tatsu from now on because I'm not trying to say Tatsunute Shigo every single time because it will go wrong. If you do not control any face-up monsters other than Memento monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can destroy 1 Memento monster that you control and send any number of Memento monsters with different names from your deck to the graveyard whose total levels are less than or equal to the destroyed monster's original level. You can only use each effect of Tatsunute Shigo once per turn. Absolutely fantastic card to be able to get monsters in the graveyard, to be able to bring them back using the second effect of Anguish. Speaking of one of the targets that we got for Tatsu, we have 2 copies of Memento Goblin. During the main phase, if you control Combined Creation, quick effect, you can discard this card for the rest of this turn. Your opponent cannot target Memento monsters that you control with card effects. During your main phase, you can destroy 1 Memento monster that you control, and if you do, send up to 2 Memento cards with different names from each other from your deck to the graveyard, except for Goblin. You can only use each effect of Goblin once per turn. And the other card that we're going to be using from Tatsu's effect is Memento Mace. During your opponent's main phase, if you control combined creation quick effect, you can discard this card, then target one face-up monster that your opponent controls and take control of it until the end phase. During your main phase, you can destroy one Memento monster that you control, and if you do, add one Memento card from your deck to your hand, except for Mace. You can only use each effect of Mace once per turn. Incredible effects on Mace. Absolutely fantastic effects. I love Mace so much, and it's such cool artwork as well. Next up, we're going into the Infinite Forbidden support here with Memento and Sleepy. During a turn, a monster in your possession was destroyed by a card effect, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can fusion summon one Memento fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send one Memento card from your deck to the graveyard, except for Memento and Sleepy. You can only use each effect of Sleepy once per turn. This card is so powerful. It allows for so many extension plays because it has got three fantastic effects of being able to special summon itself, fusion summon, and send a card to the graveyard. It is just so strong in this deck. Next up, we've got a little Karibo friend. We've got Memento Gatic. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one Memento card in your graveyard except for Gatic, add it to your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a Memento monster's effect, you can special summon this card. You can only use each effect of Gatic once per turn. Another fantastic card for getting an extra body on the field. Speaking of an extra body on the field, Memento Horn Dragon, we are playing one of. If you have 3 or more Memento monsters with different names in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you can only special summon Horn Dragon once per turn this way. If this card on the field is destroyed by card effect, you can target 3 face-up monsters on the field, including a Memento card that you control, and destroy them. You can only use this effect of Horn Dragon once per turn. I love Horn Dragon because in my old deck, I used to use Tri-Horn Dragon, and Horn Dragon is the retrain of Tri-Horn Dragon. I loved Tri-Horn Dragon when I was younger. I thought it was a really cool looking card. Finishing off the monsters, we do have 3 copies of Ash Blossom, of course. Really important in this format to run Ash Blossom. So we are just running 3 of that as our hand trap. So that is all of our monsters. Let's move over to the spells and traps, of which there are quite a few. So, first of all, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Memento Fusion. So, Memento Fusion is such a powerful fusion card because you can use it during the main phase. Fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters that you control from your hand or field as material, including a Memento monster. If a monster in your possession was destroyed by card effect this turn, you can also shuffle Memento monsters from your graveyard into the deck as material. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, destroy one monster that you control, and if you do, add a Memento spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Memento Fusion once per turn. It's insane being able to summon fusion summon by shuffling back from the graveyard. It is a fantastic effect for the extension in this deck. I absolutely love Memento Fusion so much. Next up, we've got 3 copies of Memento Bone Party. Destroy one Memento monster in your hand or face-up field. Take one Memento monster from your deck with a different name and either add it to your hand or special summon it in defense position. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target one Memento monster that you control. If it attacks a defense position monster this turn, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent, and you can only use each effect of Bone Party once per turn. The piercing damage is not really relevant. I mean, it's useful because you've got a 5,000 attack monster on the field, but it's not necessarily relevant. The first part where you're able to search, destroy a Memento monster in hand or field and search, is just really useful. You can use that on your turn or your opponent's turn to be able to search, and it's just fantastic. Next up, we're playing a single copy of Memento Boneback. Now, this is probably the weakest card in the series, but I do quite like it because I like the fact that you can get out a second combined creation for use with a trap later on. So if a face-up Memento monster that you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, special summon one combined creation from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. If your opponent moves a Memento monster out of your graveyard whilst this card is in your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can banish this card, special summon as many Memento monsters as possible with different names from your hand and or deck. You can only use each effect of Bone Back once per turn. It's really useful to just be able to get a Cranium Burst back online, essentially, alongside having Combined Creation. Just gets you another 5,000 attack monster on the field, which is really useful. Next up, we've got our field spell, and again, I'm going to butcher it, Memento. If your Memento monster battles, your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards until the end of the damage step. If a monster you control is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can target one of those monsters. Special summon one Memento monster with a lower level from your hand or graveyard. You can only use this effect of the field spell once per turn. Once per turn, during your end phase, you can target one Memento, spell or trap in your graveyard and set it. Really useful card. It's not the strongest field spell in the world, but we have got ways of searching it, easy ways of searching it. So we only need to play it as a one-of. Next up, we are playing 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent, just in case the opponent decides to do something. You could get rid of your Bone Back in order to play a 3rd Triple Tactics Talent if you wanted to, but I kind of like just playing the 2. We are playing 1 copy of Rota, just to be able to search for our Darkblade. We're playing 1 copy of Called by the Grave, and 1 copy of 1 for 1. So there are sort of 1-card combos that you can do with the level 1 monsters that you've got in the deck. So 1 for 1 is really useful. They're not the strongest of combos that we've got in the deck, but 1 for 1 is a really useful card if we need it. And then finally, the traps. We've got 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. We've got 1 copy of Memento Cranium Burst. Now, Cranium Burst is an amazing card. So whilst you control a Memento monster, your opponent's monsters that can attack must attack the Memento monster you control with the highest attack, their choice if tied, which we have a monster with 5,000 attack on the field pretty much every end board that we do, which is very strong. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, except during the damage step, you can target 1 combined creation that you control. It loses exactly 1,000 attack and defense, and if it does, negate that activated effect. You can only activate this effect of Cranium Burst once per chain. We can basically turn our combined creation into a 5-monster negate Appaloosa using Cranium Burst. And because it doesn't kind of specify, if you've got more than 1 combined creation on the field, you can do both of them. So there's no reason. That's why I've got the Bone Back still in the deck, because you could just bring out a second one if you've utilized all of the negates of the first one. Honestly, the interruptions that this combo, the main combo, can spit out, I don't think you're going to need it, but it's still there as an option anyway. And then lastly, we've got Memento Fracture Dance. If you control a Memento monster, target 1 card on the field and destroy it. Then if you control a combined creation, you can destroy 1 more card on the field. When an attack is declared involving your Memento monster and an opponent's monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard. All monsters your opponent currently controls lose 1,000 attack until the end of this turn, which is really useful alongside Cranium Burst as well, because Cranium Burst forces monsters to attack. So, and then Fracture Dance will reduce their attack anyway. So if they're attacking into your 5,000 combined creation, well, they're not going to be happy with it. All right, so that is the main deck. That's what I'm going to be running at locals. Let us move over to the extra deck, which has got some really cool cards in. So, first up, we've got 2 copies of Memento Tekutlika Creation King. We got there eventually. This card art is incredible. It's such a good looking card. There's so much going on there. So it requires 3 Memento monsters to summon. You can banish this card from your graveyard to add 1 field spell from your deck to your hand. You cannot activate the following effects of the Creation King in the same chain. If this card is fusion summoned, you can send 3 Memento cards from your deck and or extra deck to the graveyard. And then quick effect, you can target an equal number of Memento monsters that you control and cards that your opponent controls and destroy them. So it's got an interruption as well. And it comes out at 3,000 attack. So it is a really strong monster. And it basically comes out for free because you're shuffling 3 Memento monsters from your graveyard into your deck. And then you just send 3 monsters to the graveyard when it's summoned. So yeah, it pretty much comes out for free. It is such a good card. Next up, we have got 2 copies of Memento and Twin Dragon. So this requires 2 Memento monsters this time. Any monster destroyed by battle with your Memento monster is banished, which is not a really used effect at all. You can use this effect, you can only use the following effects of Twin Dragon once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, you can destroy 1 Memento monster in your hand or face-up field, and if you do, add up to 2 Memento monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. If this fusion summon card is destroyed, you can special summon 1 level 6 or lower Memento monster from your graveyard. So if you use Twin Dragon's own effect to pop itself, then you're going to be adding 2 from the deck and special summoning 1 from the graveyard in one go. So yeah, it's a really strong card. Last of the fusions that we are playing a single copy of Guardian Chimera. We've got quick play spells, essentially. Our Memento fusion is a quick play spell. I don't foresee using Chimera all that much, but it is a really strong card regardless. Next up, our Link monsters. We've got 1 copy of Relinquished Anima. If we need to get a level 1 off the field, Relinquished Anima is the answer. We've got a single copy of IP Masquerena. IP Masquerena is going to be one of our main cards in the combo. It's really useful during your opponent's turn because we are going to be going into our single copy of SP Little Knight. Now, thank you first of all to Antonio from Sons of Russell for lending me his SP Little Knight for locals tonight. I'm hoping that I get it in the tins. I'm really hoping that I get it in the tins. But, or at least it comes down in price in the tins. That'd be really nice as well. But yeah, SP Little Knight, really useful in your opponent's turn, just to be able to disrupt them a little bit more alongside IP Masquerena. Next up, we are playing a single copy of Moon of the Closed Heaven. I like this card. I've not properly used it just yet. I do like this card though because we are going to be playing Underworld Goddess as well. So Moon of the Closed Heaven is going to be really useful, potentially, for additional plays. Next up, we've got a single copy of Nightmare Phoenix, a single copy of Nightmare Cerberus, and a single copy of Nightmare Unicorn. And then our Link 4s that we are playing a single copy of Access Code Talker. We were playing Appaloosa, and it got banned. So we are now playing a single copy of Avramax. And then finally, finishing it off, we are playing a single copy of Underworld Goddess. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic little extra deck. It's a very strong combo once you get going with it. It is incredibly strong end board that you can put out. So I'm really looking forward to showing those to you. I will be doing a key card and combo guides on the channel as I always do. But I think next week we will be opening up some megatins and then we'll go back to the combo guides and such. So thank you very much everybody who has watched. I really do appreciate it. Please do subscribe to the channel. It'll be very much appreciated if you did. I bring Yu-Gi-Oh content to you every Friday, and there's some Pokemon content, TCG content on the channel as well. So thank you very much everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye.